unauthorized use of hit music.
The number one station for the unsigned artist.
QSJ Radio.
On www.qsjradio.com.
You start here.
Music. In 3, 2, 1.
Test it. 1, 2. Test it. 1, 2. Test it. 1, 2. Test it. 1, 2. I'm happy, I'm terribly happy that I chose me. I wish I knew better 2-3 years ago to then choose me. I'm happy, I'm terribly happy that I chose me. I wish I knew better 2-3 years ago to then choose me. Now I know days have been slow without you. Honestly, I'm still just finding my tune. Try to make each day fit with all the things that I want. Yeah, yeah. Things look so new, though they just the same old things. Only thing is I am.
Welcome to QSJ Radio's MadLuh, digging up the underground. This is QSJ Radio, your host, Traffic Light, as we dig into the underground to uncover independent artists, creative voices, and the stories that shape the music you don't hear anywhere else. Every artist has a story before the song ever reaches your speakers. The places they lived, the experience that shaped them, the struggles they've overcome, and the moments that pushed them to finally share their voice. Today, we're sitting down with an artist whose journey crosses continents and cultures. Born in Cameroon, raised in Bangladesh, and now creating her own path in New York City. She's transformed a lifetime of experiences into music rooted in honesty, empowerment, and connection. She's an artist who believes in speaking truth, embracing vulnerability, and using her voice to inspire others. Today, welcome CZK, right? That's how you say it?
Yes, that's exactly how you say it. Thank
No.
you.
You're welcome. I was sitting there and I'm like, man, not for nothing, but she got like this long name, and I can understand sometimes you probably got to cut some of this off because some people are immature, right? So we'll do it like that. But your story begins across multiple continents. Born in Cameroon, raised in Bangladesh, and now creating music in New York. How did those different cultures and environments shape the person and artist you are today?
That's a great question. And when I think through kind of those travels, I identify so strongly with each and every one of them because they just open my perspective. I think from a really young age, being exposed to different environments, different cultures, even different food, different colors, flavors, ways of celebration, ways of kind of even just communing with people. It just really expanded my perspective, and I think it keeps me open. I love cultures. I love exploring. And so it's always this perspective of wherever you go, you keep an open mind and you want to know the customs and what that place and people has to offer. So that's just like built into principles regarding how I live, and also even seeing economic disparities, what like society looks like in different places. And how the issue of equity is important. So, I mean, it's really been the foundations of how I look at life as I navigate it. Even when I came to Harlem, I fell in love with Harlem super quickly. And I just really love this place, and it's been a creative home. And part of me being able to like embrace it for what it is that aspect of keeping an open mind and really wanting to understand and take in everything that a place has to offer.
I'm bugging out here, people. Let me just tell you, okay? Cameroon, Africa, Bangladesh, Asia and here in the United States, right? And you sound like you've been in New York for like all your life. I'm sitting here like, wait, where's the accent at? Did you pick up an
That is so
accent?
funny.
What?
I do have a lot of accents mixed together. You probably won't hear it always, but you'll hear me say something or say something in a way like, what was that? And you can trace that back to different places I've been at. And it's funny, everywhere I've been, my accent has not been fully like it's always been a thing. Because in Bangladesh, we have like English medium and Bengali medium schools. And I went to an English medium where it was normal to speak in English. Although, it sounds different and different people. And also being a culture that was highly influenced with Western entertainment and things like that, you find that a lot of the English speaking people have an accent that you can consider foreign. And then when I would go back to Cameroon, people would think I have an accent that's foreign.
Ooh, I
And I
heard
come
it.
to the US.
I heard it. I just heard it because it's like you thinking about it and you're like natively, it comes out natively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all there. And you'll
Bro,
hear it. And sometimes when
I
I'm
ain't trying to
speaking
argue
to
with you because you're gonna switch it up real quick. Like
real quick.
now, before music became a public journey, there was a lifetime of experience that came before it. When did you first realize music wasn't just something that you enjoyed doing, but something that you needed to pursue?
Oh yeah. That would be between 2022 and 23. Music has always been a
Wait,
passion.
hold up. That is recent.
That is recent. I've been like
Because right
probably
now
my third
we
year.
live in like post-COVID life. You know what I'm saying? Right
Yeah,
now, that's everybody post-COVID. So this is post-COVID. This is like yesterday.
post COVID, and maybe it's related. Who knows? Who knows? Because
Okay.
um, it was part of my growing up, and just realizing, this is who I am, and I just realized that I can't be my full self if I'm not exercising my creative self. Because over the years, I had always dreamed of this, like as a teenager growing up in Bangladesh, and where I actually fell in love with music. But then, prospects, you don't really know. I knew I always wanted to do this in the US, and then obviously not knowing that I will immigrate to the US. And then, then life kicks in, and, you kind of go with the motions, and your family's immigrating. But yeah, when I got to a point where I did this workshop, and it was called Discover Your Purpose. It was very interesting, and it revealed a lot about myself, that it just kind of left me realizing that I had to do this, because for a while there, I didn't know that I could. So
Wow.
there was a period of years where I just didn't do music. And before that, I had dabbled a little bit. I did things in Boston and New York and Atlanta. And I have, people that I've worked with from way back. And even some promoters that I meet in New York are people who knew me from way back when.
Wow.
But there was a period where it was almost like I'd hung the towel. I didn't even sing, as much. But it was a beautiful time, because I would only sing like in the shower with my cousins, like a cousin would bring a guitar.
Yeah.
And so it was just the love of it. But then the more I did that, I realized, no, I really love this art form. Like I really care about it, and it's not enough to just, not explore what could be. So when I made that decision, it was like, okay, how do I get my life to create space for that?
You know,
And
that that's what I was like getting to right here, because you spent like 10 years after immigrating to the United States, fully stepping into your calling as an artist. Was there like a moment where you was like, it's time?
yeah, for sure. That was 2020. I keep 23 when I moved to Harlem.
Wow.
I think I moved to Jersey City because I've been in Jersey, and I consider myself to some degree a Jersey girl as well, because that's where I landed. That's where I, went to grad school. That's why, I kind of grew in a lot of ways. But, and Jersey feels like home in the sense that, it's very familiar now. But I knew that it wasn't where I needed to be to pursue music. And it so happened that New York made the most sense, of course, I mean, for a lot of reasons.
You know,
So when I,
like, what was it about Harlem? All right, because yeah, I've known the Jersey world. I was in the military. I got stationed there, so I started doing a lot of stuff
Mhm.
there. But I'm from the Bronx, right? So when I was raised in the Bronx, Jersey is like a whole country away, right? It's never like it's not right there. But
it's not.
what about Harlem and the New York scene that helped, like,
Mhm.
unlock this different side of your artistry? I feel like it was an unlock moment.
Yes, yes, yes. So when I was moving to New York, it was more of what was practical, budgetary consideration, what type of space I was looking for. This space was actually a blessing, I think. It was, I mean, not to get into that story, but it was just perfect timing, perfect space, perfect whatever. And so I locked in on that. And then when I came in, I was like, well, I just need to start somewhere, and I wanted to be around creatives. I wanted to be in creative spaces. So I applied for an interview at Lounge Studios in Midtown. And so my first year here, majority of my creative efforts was in supporting that studio space, and it exposed me to different things, people, conversations that I think played a part in my overall transition and was a form of inspiration. I have I remember, the day I had my luggage, because I move and then you have your whatever luggage and you come in and spend the night for the first time in your spot. And I was just writing and writing. There was something about it, being on the train. It was just a lot of writing about the things I'm seeing, what I was doing. And for a while, I didn't actually feel very productive. Like during the internship, I was enjoying it, but I didn't know if I was doing enough. But it was exactly what I needed to be doing about time. And when my internship was ending was when I released my first single, Say That Shit Loud. And that was just an expression for me. There was no promo. It's not even really my quintessential style, if you would think about it. It was different. But it was something that I felt, was really heavy on my chest, and a message that I thought was relevant. Until this day, I still connect with that song just for what it represented for me. And I think that was the moment where I started to understand my own freedom. Like, how do you claim your freedom as a person? Because freedom, is not given in the world that we live in. It's something you have to fight for. It's something that even fighting for, you don't always get. But I think in creative work, it's a piece of freedom that you claim, and no one can take away from you.
I wanna give a little bit of history here of this. Believe it or not, people, Lounge Studios getting an internship there is they got to see something in you, because that's been around almost 25 years.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, is in downtown Manhattan. Well, I want to say downtown, but Midtown Manhattan.
mhm.
Grammy award winning people from that area.
Yeah.
So, um, now you probably know this, right? And you know this, but professionalism from there as an intern, because you basically could watch what's going on, and like
Mhm.
you can go home and bitch about it if it's like bad, because it won't let you go. But this professional side of music, what was some of the stuff that was taught during that internship?
Mm,
Because I know that some of that is also,
yeah,
bringing out. I can see it with how you bring yourself out on websites and social media and stuff like that. I can
yeah.
see some of that stuff comes out of that. What was some of the professional stuff that you learned during that internship?
So I mean, naturally, right? It's a business that operates according to certain expectations of showing up, of this is how we do this, or this is how we do that. So I think there was just that discipline in the form of respect for how the space is maintained and how it operates, and just wanting to adhere to that. And then, we would have engineers teach us things every once in a while. And I have dabbled with my DAW and like Ezra in the past, and there are areas where I need to grow in and areas that I'm more comfortable with. But having like, that real time explanation, a walkthrough, this is how you set up your workstation. This is how you set something up for a podcast, or even, but I think for me, what was most valuable was really just being able to exist there and have conversations with like Blue, who's a Grammy winning, producer, or Walter, who owns the place, or Ava Rain, who's like an artist who's done a lot of meaningful work. So just talking to these, very kind of like professional people in the industry was helpful. And even in terms of how I think of how do I engage, what is truly being productive as an artist? Because as an artist, there's so much that you do. There's so much that you do just to be able to do, what you love. And so there's a lot that we don't always see as working or see as this is going into my artistry. But just that realization that every effort that I put, whether it's editing anything like or sending something or following up or, how you show yourself, like that stuff that you have to own and understand that, that's also part of working, and your ability to do that well plays into your overall artistry. So that's there. And then, a lot of experiences of just growing up in different ways in Jersey, in different industries and stuff, and being in like corporate settings, the different settings that, force you to engage in a certain level of professionalism. And then realizing when I was transitioning into music that a lot of the skills that we learn at our other jobs and whatnot are very much applicable to our art. And I am actually a huge advocate for artists who are dabbling in multiple spaces just to make everything, kind of move. To kind of understand that whatever skill you're building in that other activity, it's something you can apply to your music. It might look different or feel different, but essentially just that ability to do that. So don't take lightly,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing on the
I
side,
always,
whatever,
yeah,
you know.
I'm big with that too because man, I be hating with like, and seriously, I do. It almost shows like immaturity when an artist has like a regular day job and they don't take that serious. So what else don't you take serious,
Exactly.
right?
At
What
the end
else?
of the day, you're working with teams, you're working with people. You kind of have to, it's the same thing. It's just different. It looks different because it's a different area of expertise, but you still need to get,
Yeah, you still need to
people
grind
to
it.
come.
Grind it out because
Exactly.
it's if it's really part of who you are,
Yeah.
artistically, like then that stuff should be very easy.
And I,
Especially if it funds your your career currently as an
it's the
independent artist.
exactly. You got to take it seriously because that's how you keep it going, and just that attitude, and I think the most maybe experienced or professional artists know that the administrative part is just as big, sometimes even more, or as important as the performance and the creative part. So it's a huge, it's a challenging balance to kind of fix it. But I also think it's a evolving thing because your music is going to be at different places at different time. It's going to require different things of you. But just being able to, kind of like deliver on both fronts is just essential
If you
if
guys
you're
are
going to
just
keep
if you
growing.
guys are just tuning in, we have CZK with us. We're talking about her upcomings in the music biz and things like that, and I kind of wanted to swing towards the lounge studios because it is a legendary place, and just to be there, not just like artists go in and out of there, and they just forget about the place, but when you're in there and you realize what's really going on, what it takes to run a studio, you gotta give it up to those guys that sit behind the boards
Absolutely.
because everybody keeps thinking it's just a click away, get a good producer. Yeah, you get a good producer or engineer or anybody like that. You could tell their experience, and you could tell who takes it kind of serious or who who is it easy, so easy is nonchalant. It almost looks like they're lazy, but in reality, they kind
Yeah.
of like really good with it. Um, and that's and
And
that's
they
and that's a world that most artists don't get the opportunity to see because they just think they're there to just perform on the microphone and leave.
right, and they don't like prioritizing even just you gotta. I always think like every experience is what you take from it. It's like two people go to class, but they come out with completely different levels of absorption of whatever was said. So, for me, whenever I am, with, engaging in opportunity, it's just really taking everything, just paying attention and, just observing. I think as artists, being an observer is like our number one skill. You have to be able to observe and understand what each day, each experience gives you, even if you don't fully process it at the time. And then later it's like, oh, that clicked. And oh, I remember that. Or, oh, I see now how that played into everything. So just really paying attention. And it comes from the respect of the art form, the respect of how difficult it is to to be active as an artist, and also how much effort goes into being able to create those spaces for us, because I do want to say it's just an incredible team at Lounge, and I find that the most professional, the most successful people, at least that I've engaged so far, are the most humble because they've been
Yeah.
through that. They
There's
understand the
there's
work.
no cockiness involved in that stuff. They just
Yeah.
going in. It's almost it's almost hippie like, you know? It's almost
Yep.
big shout out to everybody listening in. Now listen, this is the thing, right? So if you guys heard clearly, Cynthia is from Cameroon, Bangladesh, Jersey, all these things. First single that you released though is almost what some people believe is anti-American, right? But
Yeah.
it's not, right? But it's not
Absolutely not.
because it's
Mhm.
international what these things are happening in these songs. Now, just to give a little feedback, and I'll let you, do your thing about the song. Say that shit out loud without the I. Okay, say that shit out loud. It carries a powerful message from the title. But what inspired the song, and what do you want listeners to feel when they hear it for the first time?
First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share more about the song. It's a very special song to me because it came at a time where I was transitioning my own, growth as an artist, and I think the artist journey is very much also understanding who you are, what matters to you, what is your message. And I think I pondered on that question a lot. What do I want to bring to people? Like, what is it that, and it's very much humanitarian, like empowerment, positive messages, message of love, of strength. And we're all going through this life thing in different ways. And we all struggle, but we have commonalities in how certain things affect our lives or our wellness. So say that shit loud in the midst of a lot of political just, intensity coming out of a pandemic. Also, like there's war going on. You see a group of people who are, going through so much, and it's not a fair battle. It's not even battle. Like, and it's a humanitarian, and it wasn't even just specific to what was happening there. That was the inspiration. That was what gave me a moment of pause to contemplate on life and how, what's going on. But when you look at it globally in Africa and Asia, in the Caribbean, even here in the United States, people exist in conditions that are just not, um, they shouldn't even be acceptable to human life or preserving human integrity. And my point with that song is that this is a humanitarian problem. It's a global humanitarian issue. Like when you look at the world or people as a civilization, um, we're just not at a place that we can stand with pride and say, like, we are an advanced civilization where X, Y, and Z don't happen in the world where we live in. And politics is it's like you can't have a humanitarian conversation without having a political conversation, it seems. But, and I understood even as an advocate that politics, you know, it isn't like when you're working in humanitarian efforts, you have to engage politics in some way because it's
Yeah.
always there.
Yeah, you can't
And
run.
so
Yeah.
you can. So, but my point is to say there's the politics of it all, and everyone can have their take on it. And it was very disappointing for me personally. Just like the things that stood across the political aisle regarding that matter, regarding other things. It's like, how is this not prioritized? We just came out of a global pandemic. Why is welfare and wellness and why is
Let me
this
tell
not
you.
a priority?
Let me tell you something about that
Um,
pandemic. We only had 2 weeks where the whole world was together. After that, it went right back to the chaos, a little bit worse.
exactly.
But let me get to
But
this right
mhm.
here, and we'll come back. Because this definitely shows your vulnerability and diversity and a whole bunch of stuff. And almost like you spit in bars, but we'll get into that. This is say that shit out loud, but for those who are trying to search for it, it's STSL.
Yeah.
In
And say
parentheses,
that shit loud.
say that
Yeah.
shit loud.
Mm.
On QSJRadio.com.
We say we live in a civilization, yet at the same time, there are thousands of people dying in Palestine. Look at us, just here, utterly drifting by. What happened? What happened to your life, man? Ask the
I know that was the first single, and there's a lot of things in that song, but it feels like the same conversation we're having. It
Exactly.
feels like, man, I feel bad for those kids that didn't make it to their first birthdays. I know that you're over there in New York, so you see some of them people that are defending that.
It's so heartbreaking.
It's-
Yeah.
It is like insane, and I don't get it.
There's no reason. Mhm.
I don't get it. I don't care. Like, come on, man. I'm not supposed to be fighting about oil right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to fight for something, we got to fight about, like, I don't even know. Like, I don't think none of this
Why
stuff
are
is.
we fighting?
Yeah.
It's like, why are we are in a world where we talk about agentic AI and like rockets going, like the technology is there. We can create systems that serve all people. Budgetary wise, we're dumping billions in a war. Like we can repurpose those funds to, it's just, why is this still how we operate as people? It's just a huge question that I think we need to think about it, because the average person has access to more information, access to more like trade borders or like in terms of shipping stuff. Like, what is the challenge where we cannot, you know, solve a lot of these issues? There's no reason why some people should live that way. There's no reason.
Sad.
Yeah. It's about intention. It's because the intention is
I don't
not.
get it at all. Okay, I don't get it at all. It's like
Yeah.
I get it. People have disagreements. Boom. The capitalism. I don't even know. You read that stuff in books. It's supposed to be something in the history. It's not supposed to be something currently now. Diplomacy really doesn't work with people. People really get angry. They want to go straight to violence.
Right.
I always believed that because of this going on, and it seems like it's a nonstop thing, and because there's so many laws within cities and states, that it is humanly natural to be violent. I'm just
Yeah.
understanding that, because it's just like there's always this paranoia. How you're going to survive, and the
Yeah.
first threat that you have in your life, they have to like disappear. In a world of social media or a world of the internet, you could block them. you could do this, that, and try to live your best life without them, but they're going to show
Right.
their way back up, right? And so,
Yeah.
what's the next step? The next step is to, you know, end them in some sort of way.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
always believe that is, and it's kind of sad. But the first thing that we do as humans is like we get mad, and I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
like go to church,
Reactive.
go somewhere. Like that's why both those worlds, the science world and religion's world, need to coexist in some sort of way
Yeah.
because in a way, at the end of the day, this is if you're as human as you believe you are, the things that you do are bigger than you, and but if it's all about you, there's just some sort of like loss of connectivity to people. But we do live in a world of clicks and views now, right? So
Yeah.
that's a very selfish thing to do these days.
And another thing, like with Say That Shit Loud, the reason why I just, because, I'm an artist inspired by artists, and artists are one of the reasons why I love this thing, music, because I just celebrate artists. And I think it has, when you look through time and some of the most impactful artists, they've always been vocal about the issues of their time, whether it's in human relationships or it's, externally what's going on. I think that is one of the sacred, if you may, responsibilities of artists
Yeah.
to actually, speak about truths related to that, because at first they do last, the test of time. Unfortunately, things you hear Bob Marley saying about things that today is still relevant. But, it is an important responsibility, I think. And I just feel like to some degree, if there's something that bothers you as an artist that relates to our human affairs, to have the liberties to express that.
Yeah.
So
And even if it's uncomfortable for some people,
absolutely.
because
And again,
man, there's some artists come out and it's so uncomfortable. But you know what?
Yeah.
Something had to spin in their head of that, and I don't believe that every artist who has a specific background needs to defend that background, because something some way, shape, or form, that background didn't accept them and someone
Yeah.
else did. And so,
Yeah.
it's kind of how the Kanye effect, he goes and says something that kind of eye opens most of his listeners. And it's like, some people will defend it and say it's the genius in him, right? And all this other stuff. It's like you're actually taking his feelings of things and you're putting it to the back burner instead of realizing, some people really do think like this.
Yeah.
And even if it's uncomfortable, right? If you feel like it's your platform, the only thing that I don't want is people to constantly believe that we got to get this word out through violence. I think that's the only part. Like if you
absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like if you're a duck
We just
hunter,
need to,
if you're a duck hunter, you know what I mean? Like
we need to heal as people,
yeah,
because it's like when your natural response is to go violent, then you need to work on something. And, how do we make that the normal perspective? Yeah, we've come from a time, it took a lot of armies and gunpowder to get to wherever we are, for whatever reason. And, but we're here now. Like, how do we lock in on the issues of right now and think moving forward, how do we make progress? There are generations and the lineage of people who generation after generation have been struggling, and that creates a lot of trauma, a lot of setbacks. But how do we say, hey, this is the problem of right now,
Bro, let's
let's
I
say,
don't know. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. And you don't know, and we don't know. Because the stuff
but that's where expression comes
that's
in.
thrown at us, TV, computers, whatever. It's some people say like, yeah, that stuff doesn't affect us. I still don't like Tupac fans. You know what I'm saying? And then he's like a legend. Like I mean, like to some people he's like a legend. But I grew up in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? And he was one of those guys, legendary vocalist, that had a very serious educated background, advocated about certain specific things and stuff like that. But I'm from New York, and I didn't like the dude, and I still don't like the dude. Anyways, let's. It's just stuff that's thrown
I'm
at us.
not common, but
Anyways, let's go. Yeah, let's not. We was going
yeah,
good until I
no,
said that, right?
no. I mean, to each his, opinion. Listen, at the end of the day,
Listen, don't even do that to each his own. Listen, let's we'll have you back on and we'll get this other
sounds
talk
good.
too.
Yeah.
But some of your influences do have some of this avocation background. Probably even before you even realized that. There was the Bob
hmm
Marleys, the Tracy Chapman,
Tina Turner.
Kendrick,
Uh,
Burna
yeah,
Boy, Adele,
yeah,
all these people,
yeah.
different types of platforms. Some are no longer here, but they made their international standpoint. What do you think you took from those artists beyond their sound?
I love that. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna try not to ramble for
Yeah.
for the rest. But the thing about artists is that each one teaches you something, and it doesn't have to be the same because it's just so multidimensional being an artist. So, like when we talk about Marley and, for example, just his, you know, just his determination to speak of certain truths, and just his how strong he was grounded in messages of unity, of peace. That resonated deeply with me. You think of Tina Turner, how much her story is a story about a woman fighting her freedom and making these choices like through just the worst circumstances to care for herself, and I mean just her whole life is an inspiration to me. And then you look at Adele and the degree of vulnerability and vocal excellence and lyrical excellence. You think of Kendrick, and Kendrick, I think the most inspiring thing about him to me is his skill level, just how how much he's able to deliver on each note, each word. The precision, the stylistic choices are very interesting. And I think rappers in general, they inspire me so much from a lyrical standpoint. And even to get they open up my ability to interpret lyrics in different forms because each rapper does something different with, how they enunciate and things like that. But yeah, so I mean, when I look at artists, it's not about what they're not great at ever. It's about like what is really awesome about this person. I connect to that naturally. Of course, the music is great. But yeah, these specific things about themselves, like you think of Thames and how very like there's something very natural and spiritual about her lyrical choices and vocal choices. And then Beyonce's of the world and their professionalism and just the aspect of knowing your performer. So there's like, the delivery is exceptional because of that, aspect of it. And you see that not every artist is a performer in the same way, but they all have different things that if you pay attention, you can learn from. And recently, I've always loved Michael Jackson, but recently, just really been so inspired by his visual genius. And I mean, from when you think of pop, he really set the bar of what pop music is in representation, how he just did that so well. But anyway, I could go on and on and on and on.
I mean,
Artists of
yeah.
different
I mean,
now.
this is the thing, right? And I want people to understand. You could always go. For those who are in the chat right now, thank you guys so much. You can exclamation point guest, and you'll get imczk.com. Definitely want to go and check out her website. Find out what social medias you want to, stalk her in. Okay, safely stalk. Okay, that's not
All welcome. No,
and
safe stalking welcome. Yes.
safe stalking. Yeah, like go ahead, go check her out and things like that because there's more to just these singles that she's dropped. There's so much, and the way that me and her got together was also inspiring. which we will get to here in a second, I want to show people something, okay? I have this YouTube video that you got on
Okay.
that is you took one of your singles, Blues, and acoustified it to submit to the
Oh yeah,
Tiny Desk.
NPR.
Yeah, shout out to
Mhm.
NPR. Those are my people.
Shout out, shout out.
Those are my peoples for real. No, they're not from my. They don't know I exist, but
Don't know nothing about.
but I love them. I love them. Everybody.
Yeah, it's what they do for artists.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
That is a risky thing to do. Puts you out there. What gave you the confidence to submit for the Tiny Desk because usually the people that we hear there had kind of like 15, 20, 30-year careers already.
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, there's humility in a lot of things. When you're an artist, pushing to forge your path. Opportunities are limited, we know that. And there are a lot of things out there. You don't always get to shoot your shot. You don't always get to, but I think that it's important to put yourself out there for different opportunities. And it doesn't matter what stage you are. If it's open to you and you have the capacity and you're intentional about it, it's something that, you want to do honestly and just see where that goes. I think it's always encouraged because you never know where that video will go or where that, thing would go. And also with that, I always put my best foot forward. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Just try to do it the best way because you never know where it's going to go. So yeah, for NPR, the time I actually heard about it like around Christmas time, and I was trying to I decided I was going to do it, didn't know how, logistically it was challenging, but we made it, and the story to that day is interesting. But I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, let me play a little bit about it, and then we'll get into it because I do believe that this song also has a deeper story. Here is Blues, the acoustic version. This is submission for NPR. Check out the vocals on this.
And first take, after setting up, and we did a couple more takes, but we're that first one was it. So yeah.
Come on, I almost feel better. Help me through the blues. 'Cause I can't stand the feeling of being without him. I've got to get through. Come on now, help me with the blues. Come on now, help me through the blues. Come on now, help me feel better. Help me through the blues. 'Cause I can't stand the feeling of being without him. I've got to get through.
So, can you tell me who was there with you? Because they did it. They killed it. They killed it too.
Thank you. Shout out to everyone that was part of this, and that includes my photographer, videographer, Daniel O2. He is O2 Click in Instagram. Who's been my ride or die from way back in 22, 23. And there was how can I forget his name? The artist, the guitarist. It's just I know his.
It'll
It's
come
just
back.
a
It'll come back.
momentary. Yeah. And then there was Adam, engineer at lounge, the other control room. Yeah, so that was really it. It was us four. So we were in the live room, had the thing set up. I wanted to put the flowers in a vase, but I forgot the vase, so I just kind of put the flowers on the
I was
table.
wondering. I was like, did somebody just leave that there? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be so intentional. I also wanted to get the Americana book by Chimamanda.
okay.
And but I forgot the book at home, and then I was running over Midtown to find a bookstore that had it. Didn't find it, so that didn't make the set. But it was just a simple, like set go. And Adam was taking the takes. We did the first one, maybe two or three, and yeah, we were good to go. It was like a 2 or 3 hour block, I think, but we didn't. Yeah, it was just
So
I
so
had
shout
the
out to that, right? Shout out to that and, going
yeah
through the process to submit. You wanna do it at your best and things like that,
yeah.
which obviously you guys went ahead, it took a team effort. But this is also a song that you got. It's called Blues. It explores love, attachment, self-preservation. It's almost like every human conflict many people experience. What's what's your inspiration to explore that kind of emotional space when it comes to a song? Because a song is like exactly what it meant. It's a blues, right?
Yes, I remember that weekend, because I wrote the song on a Saturday and I finished. So, like, no, sorry, I did the production on a Saturday, did the writing and vocal takes, and then on a Sunday I did the final vocals. And I just said this was gonna be what that song is. I'm not doing it over again. I didn't know I had that song in my heart, but I got to the mic and that's what came out. And it did come from a place where I was at the time, I was in that place. Obviously the story is, elaborate and, maybe so with the song I just stuck to the messaging, right? It wasn't about what your personal relationship, thing or dynamic or whatever it is. It wasn't about how it looks specifically, but it was about what happens when you're in that place where you're going through the blues. There's love, there's separation, but there's also you have to put yourself first. And it's not it's not necessarily a that person was trifling, this person, it's not that. It's a human thing. A lot of times we go through relationships and we downplay our own, faults, or we overplay the other person and we make it like it's human dynamic. Sometimes people are not in the same place. We're all healing, we're all growing in different ways, but sometimes there's a boundary in order to engage. And maybe someone's flaw just doesn't meet you where, or whatever they're going through doesn't meet you where you are, and vice versa, which is where it's your responsibility to pause and say, hey, it is my number one responsibility to care for me, to love me, to heal me, to grow me. And I will do that at all costs, even if it crushes my soul, because it's the blues. And the best way is to get through. You could get stuck in the blues. That feeling could eat you up. It could consume you. And sometimes it's part of the process. But how do you go to the other side, And that's what, the song is about.
If you guys are just tuning in, we do appreciate you guys. I know that if you guys are paying attention, CZK has a busy life. And I was just informed that we're running out of time to talk to you, but we got a few more questions here. Hopefully we can get them in. And if not, we will welcome you back whenever, new release or
Always
whatever.
happy.
So this is I wanna get people to understand that you recently was involved with Giveback for Shawn Initiative. I was also part of that a few years ago. I just wanted to chill. Next thing you know, I was put to work, but whatever. Shout out to Kate. And
Shout out.
and you participated in the Road to Giveback Kick-Off Event. Artists often have opportunities to use their platforms for more than just music. What drew you to this initiative, and why was it important for you to be a part of it?
Thank you for that question. So first of all, my music is highly grounded in community too. I think, I love the community here in Harlem and New York, and, whether it's the Bronx or Brooklyn. And I see, if there's an opportunity to show out and show up and it works, scheduling wise, as we discussed, yeah, I'm always happy to show up. I feel like this is a city that I feel at home in, and it's not too much to show up. if I have to. So I always do my best. And Katie, I have to think back even how Katie and I first kind of started engaging, but I know it was probably around the give back from last year. And from there, she has reached out regarding other things. And the give back for Shawn for me is very important. Again, I'm a humanitarian. I am, an artist, and I connect with human experience. I'm fascinated by it. It's all about how do we help each other get by. That's really my philosophy. So, you know, and just seeing the stories of the patients and hearing Katie tell her story about her friend, there's just a lot of spaces that need more exposure, that need more representation, and every issue is important. So I just got to participate, and now it's something I'm connected to, I'm close to, and if there's ever a give back, the Katie host, I would always want to show up, show out, and spread the message.
Big shout out to everybody listening in. Your journey shows a lot of courage. Leaving comfort zones, moving locations, pursuing music later in life. What would you say to someone who feels like they've missed their opportunity at chasing their dream?
Mm. That one hits in a beautiful way, but complicated because sometimes I wonder if I took music this seriously 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, 6 years ago, what would that have looked? And we know, like, the industry, I think we can say this publicly, when you think of, you know, pop stars or, major labels, there is an age consideration where maybe there's an age group that gets prioritized in terms of who do we invest in, So as you move further, it might feel like you're losing opportunity, but I think time makes an artist better. If you're really, it doesn't matter what your life has looked like. If you're conscious about your creative self and you're conscious about who you are, and, you can only get better. And how you take that out to the world, again, now we have a lot of freedom as independent artists to be able to craft your messaging or select your connections and partners and collaborators. And of course, those are things that you'll need to grow and put the effort and be there, and, but you can do that. And, I just think that it's never too late. You've seen artists break it. Tina Turner, when after separating with Ike, and went her whole thing and came back in her mid years and still was a phenomenal rock star. So, like, just age is not the issue. It's where are you? What are your goals? At that point, what are your options? How do you want to do this? And just do it. Don't think about it. Just do what you do. Don't try to be anything else. Don't try to fit the mold or anything, because even when it comes to being, having commercial success, what space are you filling? What are you offering that no one else has? That's the thinking you should have. And it's not like trying to fit something that's already mass, promoted. I mean, a lot of things are diluted. You want to create your own field. So that's what I have to say to anybody.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Let me get a few more in here. I'm looking at the time.
Yeah. I am
Independent artists, they and I'm saying this because this is my audience. My audience is independent artists. They're always trying to look for ways, how did somebody do something and stuff like that. But for you, I've seen and hear so much. They often want to do everything. Songwriter, performer, marketer, business person. For you independently, what has been the biggest challenge of building your career?
The biggest time. Time. Because, that's the thing about the independent artist. You have to be able to have the funds come in before you can, tactically do anything as a project. So that leaves you with very little time between things you must do and things you want to do and things, all of that. But yeah, so the way I've always looked at it, and even starting in 22, when I first met Daniel was like the first person on my whole thing. And, it's like, okay, I was one person. Now what can I do with this other person? Or now, okay, maybe always be conscious about the resources you have at a time. You might not have a lot of time, at a point, but maybe you can write more on the go. That's still part of it, or so it's just um, thinking of what are your resources that you have and how can you use that to get to the next place, and the next place is going to offer its own set of resources. And one day, hopefully, you have like 50K budgets and you could do whatever
Yeah, for
video
real.
and whatever,
For real.
So that's the dream, and we just want to fund our art. We want to be able to express what we want to express at the best way possible. And even we talk about the NPR video, it's the best I could do. And maybe it's not the best video out there, but it's the best I could do then. And maybe another year it's gonna look different. So yeah. I don't know if that answered the question or if
It
I
did. It
even
did.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I know how you're going. It
yeah,
did because all of it is a challenge. And you
yeah,
answered it straight up. It is the time. It is trying to get all this, and without time, where do you have all the other assets come into play? So you did answer that. CZK story is a reminder that music doesn't come from just one place. Sometimes it comes from every place we've ever called home. Every culture, every challenge, every moment that shaped who we become. Today we talked about a journey that moved across continents: Cameroon, Bangladesh, New York City. You threw in
maybe.
Jersey in there. I have no idea why, but a journey built on courage, reinvention, and the decision to finally embrace her voice. We've explored the stories behind Say That Shit Loud, I Chose Me, and Blues. The influence that helped shaped her sound and the experiences that continue to fuel her creativity. This is what we do here at QSJ Radio. We dig up the underground. We look beyond the music to discover the person, the passion, and the story behind the artist. CZK, thank you so much for joining us and sharing
Thank
your
you.
journey. And to anyone listening, continue support independent artists, continue discovering new voices, and continue digging deeper.
Thanks so much, Dave.
You're welcome. We will talk soon because
Yeah.
obviously we need more time.
And I got new music coming up, so maybe we'll add that on the agenda for
Oh,
next
yeah.
time.
We could do that. We could do that. We could do
Thanks,
that.
Dave. You have a beautiful day. It was such a pleasure. Thank you to your audience for listening, and I hope they found the time meaningful. So yeah, we'll be connected in these social streets
We'll
until next
definitely
time.
will. You have a great day, okay?
Thank you. You too. Bye.